This chapter, it has Wanda Petronsky as the main character. And she is a Polish immigrant, right? And as she reaches school every day, there are these two girls waiting for her. One is Peggy and the other is Maddie. And they stop her and ask her questions, right? And it is almost all the same question every day. That is, how many dresses do you have? And it is also because Wanda, she wears the same faded dress to school every day, a blue color faded dress, right? And these girls, like here, when you read this story, you will come across the words here that Peggy is saying, let's have some fun with the girl. And Peggy talking to her in a very courteous manner. What is courteous? Respectful. Right? So these girls, they would talk to her in a very courteous manner, right? And when we are, talking to someone very politely, do you think we could be teasing that person? But making fun, let's have some fun. When you talk about fun, what fun do you think would come into your mind as friends, as students? Talking and playing around, all that, isn't it, right? Gossiping. Okay, fine. But here it is, let's have some fun. That means, and this would happen every day. But if you ask the same question to the child every day, if you are teasing that child every day, do you think it is something nice? No. Can we call that fun? That means you are being very bad with that child. You are not concerned about the feeling of that child, right? Yes. Now here, this is what Peggy and Maddie did every day. They asked the girl that how many dresses do you have? And she would reply, I have 100 dresses. In fact, she would also give a description of the dresses that she had. A green dress, a blue dress, a green one with the red sash, all these beautiful dresses that she would describe, right? Now, what happened was that when the story starts, it is the painting competition was there, and the teacher has displayed all the paintings, and she says that all the students, many of the students did participate, but there's one girl in particular, and each one of her drawing is prize worthy. And who was that girl who won the competition? Wanda Petronsky. But was she there to receive her prize? No. And as the students are there taking a round of the class, and the girls had been asked to draw dresses, the boys had been asked to make motorboats, to design motorboats. Right? And then the results were announced. And among the girls, it was Wanda who won the prize. Right? Now, is it very surprising that the girls have been given a separate topic and the boys another? Why can't they be given the same topic? Or why is it that girls can't be asked to design boats and the boys painting dresses? So when we are there, categorizing people according to the gender, we also talk about gender stereotypes. Do you think there are other activities which we have classified as gender stereotypes? Some things that only girls are supposed to do. These are things that are fit for boys. Yes? Household work. See, immediately it comes to your mind that household work, it has to be done. Cooking has to be done. Taking care of the home is a girl's responsibility, right? And we think that girls, they can't do any physical hard labor. They are not meant for certain kinds of jobs. So we have that stereotype thinking. So this needs to be change. So when we discuss this chapter, there are so many things that come to our mind. Now, Wanda is not there to receive the prize. And then as the children are there taking a round of the room, what happens there, the person comes with the letter, and the teacher, who's the teacher? Miss Mason. And room 13, what is the importance of room 13? Room 13 is the classroom, right? The class number. And she gets a letter. She reads the letter and very deliberately, right? She rearranges her glasses and she waits the class to be a little calm and quiet. And then she starts reading the letter. And what is there in the letter? The letter is from Wanda's father. What has he decided to do? He's decided to remove his children from the school and he is shifting to a new city. And it has happened because he has written in the letter that no one will tease his children because of their names. No one will tease them because of their unusual names. And in a big city, there are many people like them, so people will not bother. Right? So this is the decision that has been taken, and the teacher says that I know you people cannot behave like this. You could not have done anything to hurt this child. That a father had to take this decision. So Wanda had a brother also. So both of them had been taken out from the school and they've decided to shift to another city. Who do you think from the class indulged in such kind of thoughtless activity? Peggy and Maddie. So they used to tease this girl, right? Although, yeah, why did they pick her up? Why did they pick up that girl to ask her questions? Because she had a funny name and because of her appearance, right? So if a new child comes to your classroom from another state, from another place, do you think it's the right thing to do to tease a child because of his name, because of his appearance, because of the culture, habits? It also shows a lack of awareness on our part also, right? That we don't know that it's a big world and there are people who look differently than us, who behave differently than us, who have different cultures in us, right? So Miss Mason is very upset, but she says that like, I know that none of you would have behaved in this way that would have resulted in her leaving this classroom. Now these two girls, they are very upset. It's a study period after that. In fact, Maddie is very upset, and that immediately she, she starts writing or thinking of going to Wanda and asking for her forgiveness. Right now, when we talk about the friendship of Peggy and Maddie, Peggy is a very popular girl in school. She is from a rich background. She wears all these lovely dresses, right? And she is, yeah, very caring. She's very kind with the smaller children also, and she's very upset if someone is very hurt. But then what is it that makes her behave like this? Why did she start teasing that girl? Maddie is from not from a very well-off family. In fact, her, Peggy's mother gives Maddie's mother her dresses, and mother, like redecorates them. Yeah, so she adds something so that she can wear them to school. And Maddie feels that if I don't support her, if I don't stand next to her, and if I don't be there, what is going to happen? She might start teasing me. Yes, so I could be her next target, and she does not want that to happen. Do you think Maddie is responsible for encouraging Peggy in this behavior? Yes, she should have had the courage to stand up and tell her to stop, isn't it? Right? And if you are a good friend, you should tell your friend when they are going on the wrong path or when they are doing. Yes. Yes, students, your revision test starting from 6th and offline exam in the... Yeah, 6th of Feb from Saturday, and the syllabus will be shared in the respective WhatsApp group, offline as well as online. Both will be happening, I think so. Right, rest information it would be given to you, and your syllabus will be shared in the respective groups. And from Monday onwards, there's a change in timings also, right? It is 8:40 for you all. What I think so, it's 12:40. I think so. Yeah, 9 to 12 is your 8:40. You have to come, and one the previous timings that were there. Test 12 to 12:40. The test. After your classes, your test would be there. No, don't listen to him. Silence. Rest instructions will be shared in your respective WhatsApp group. Okay, let's continue with the chapter. Now, Maddie, she immediately wants to ask forgiveness from Wanda, right? Even Peggy is a little disturbed, but Peggy is a little careless, and you can say not as sensitive as Maddie, and she does not think much. But as soon as school gets over, Peggy says, let's go to Boggins Heights and see if the girl is there. You know, so she's trying to be very casual and careless in her behavior. But in her deep heart, she is really sad that maybe somehow I was also responsible for sending her away. Now, these two girls, they go to Boggins Heights. And Boggins Heights, it's quite far from the school. It's not a very, you can say, a well-developed, so you can say, area. And as they reach there, they start feeling quite sad and gloomy. They reach the house, they call out Wanda's name. No one comes out. They go around the house also, seeing if anybody is inside, but they realize that the house is empty. But one thing also, they notice about the house. The house is shabby but clean. Shabby means not, like old. Yes, it's quite old. It's not a new building. It's like the walls are not painted properly, or maybe the door is also not like things not in a very well condition. But one thing there, even though it was shabby, but it was clean. Do you think the house is somewhat similar to Wanda's dresses? Old but faded but clean, isn't it? Right? Yeah, clean there. Now they go over there. No, they're not able to find. And then what do these girls decide to do? They decide to write a letter. And yes, they write a letter to her and telling her about all the things. But none of them has the courage to say sorry for what they had done. So they wrote the letter, and after a couple of weeks, they forget what has happened, and yeah, they get on. But Maddie has decided, and in fact, in her dreams also, or even when she is alone, she prepares that speech that if someone tries to tease any child in future, how am I going to stop that from happening? Right? She will not allow this to happen. So this one big change has happened in Maddie, that she says that she will not encourage teasing or bullying of any sort. And we generally think that bullying is something, like, yeah, if you behave roughly with someone, if you are there physically, you can say rough with that person, then we think that is bullying, right? Any kind of activity which happens repeatedly and that makes you feel uncomfortable is wrong. Any kind of activity that takes away your peace of mind, that does not make you feel comfortable with yourself, is wrong. So we should never encourage it, we should never participate in it, and we should not allow it to happen to us. So we all have a right to stand up against what is wrong. Yeah. Now here these girls, they write this letter. They forget about it. They wait for a couple of weeks for the reply, but they don't get it, and they think that maybe they're not going to get the reply. So they write the letter to Boggin's Height and they write forward on it so that the postmaster could forward it to an address which he might be having. And then surprisingly, when the school is going to get over for the Christmas holidays, on the last day of school, the teacher receives a letter, and she reads that letter and she says that, do you remember the girl Wanda who had won the drawing competition? Yes, the girls do remember her. Of course, they remember her very clearly. So she has written the letter. So she's asking about that to the teacher, that how is room 13 and how's everyone? And she says that from my paintings, I want you to give 2 paintings to 2 girls, one to Peggy and one to Maddie, right? And she says, yes, I miss the school. The school might be bigger and better, but it is not as nice as my previous school. Now, when the 2 girls, they get the paintings, it is the paintings which Wanda had done, right? And they realize when they look at her paintings, when they had seen the competition, that this was where the 100 dresses were. She said those girls can take those paintings, and 2 in particular she wanted to give. She says, because now I have 100 more. How do you think she has 100 more dresses? Painting, right? So just like she had done previously. So she has painted 100 more, right? So they get those pictures which she has painted, and when they look closely, one is a green dress which she talked about, the other is a blue dress that she spoke about. When the girls look closely at the pictures, what do they see? They see that faces have also been painted on them, right? And they resemble the girls, and they feel very happy that they in a way they felt that Wanda had forgiven them. And Wanda, yes, even though the girls were teasing her, and she felt that even though they are asking me these questions, at least they talked to her. She considered them as her friend. And, as a mark of friendship, she gave those drawings to those girls, right? So here in this chapter, we have discussed about these 3 girls. Who do you think was the strongest among these 3 girls? Was it Peggy? Was it Maddie? Or was it Wanda? Why was Wanda more stronger? Because silently she used to bear that. Is it? That's why she was strong? What was the quality about Wanda? In spite, even the second letter that she writes, or the first letter rather, which she writes here, and she gives the paintings to the girls, and they're very happy here. It is in spite of the way these girls behaved. She has one quality which makes us always better than the rest. What is that? Kindness or? Yes, so she forgave those girls in her heart, and she did accept them, or she did think of these girls as friends, right? I have shared with you the question bank. Now, if you go to the question bank of this chapter, you will read a question there, or when Wanda would come to school, most of the girls would be talking in groups, or they would be playing. There's a game over there, hopscotch. What is hopscotch? Yeah, very nice. So if you're able to identify or talk about, hopscotch is your step which you draw on the ground and you play over there. Okay, so that is there. Fine, nice. What? No. No. It's given over. It's asked over there in the question bank. You can see those questions. Right? Yes. So this is a very nice story, but what is the message that we learn? What is the message? One is about acceptance. Let us learn to accept people who are different from us. See, if we've read chapter of Nelson Mandela, right? And that reminds me, there's a question about in this question bank from the chapter of Nelson Mandela. If Nelson Mandela read the poem Fire and Ice, right? And if he had to write a diary entry about it, how do you think he has experienced both in his life? Fire is about anger, violence. What was the reaction of the people when they tried to raise the voice? When they wanted to break this practice? Suppression, right? So physically, violently. What is ice? What do you think this practice of discrimination? It is showing what? Hatred, inhumanity, indifference, ice. So both these qualities he had experienced. Then there's one question which you wanted me to discuss, that when Lynch looked at the fields, it seemed as if they were sprinkled with salt. Hailstones falling, and it seems it's white, that's salt everywhere. Why it's not being compared to sugar cubes? When you talk about sugar, it's about sweetness. That is something nice happening in your life. Salt comes and it's destroyed. Excessive salt, does it make the taste better or does it spoil the taste? Spoil the taste. So what if that salt is there, the hailstone came and it spoiled the crops, right? So that is why in the chapter, the line has been written, it seemed as if the fields, it was covered with salt. Okay. Now coming back to this chapter, we discuss about acceptance. How can we learn to accept differences? Yes, any question? No? How? See, this is the way we behave with people who look different, who talk different, who dress differently. What is our behavior? Of course, here we talk about appearances. What about disabilities? Yes? Stammering and all. Yeah. So we are very bad, like we are there not ready to accept people who are even different in a small way. This shows what? How unaware we are. We make people feel more uncomfortable. You go out somewhere, you see someone who is not like you. You see a foreigner or an outsider, we'll stare at that person to make that person uncomfortable. Isn't it wondering where he's come from? Right? Yes. We are so bad, right? When it comes to people, should we behave like that? No. You say when we go there, they also stare at us, so we have to take our revenge. Is it? No. We are not. Okay. Boys, enough. Enough. Silence, right? So what about people with disabilities? How is our approach to them? How many times was it that if you saw someone with a handicap, with a problem, you help that person climb a bus, you help that person in the shop, you help that person cross the street? Do we take our time for them? Isn't it? Right? So we are there, we never understand that how difficult life must be for them. And yes, by making them realize their shortcomings, I think so we are there adding to their problems. But surprisingly, and I say admiringly, we do come across people who are there with disabilities. They are doing so wonderfully well. They make us feel incomplete. We have seen people tremendously talented doing paintings and managing life on their own. And we complain even though we are healthy individuals. So this is one serious problem that is with us, that we do not accept people who do not look like us. We have to widen our vision. And if someone has a name different from us, I don't think so that is a reason that you should tease that person or you should bully that person. right? Looks different or color different or a language different, that is no reason at all. We need to widen our horizons. We need to widen our perspectives. This is one important message that this chapter teaches us, that is about acceptance. Teasing, bullying, ragging is never acceptable. It is not an option. Okay, right? Fine.